What is going on, guys? Joey here, and I'm on a late night walk. Big Body is literally right behind me, but he's not going to talk during this one. Say what's up, Chris.
What up, guys?
And I just wanted to talk about, also, I'm getting over something, so I might sound strange, but it's been longer than I would like since I made a video, so I wanted to connect with you guys. Today we're just going to talk about honest feedback and programming adjustments. It's also very cold. It's affecting the muscles in my face. Hopefully you guys are able to take something valuable away from this. And essentially, we want to answer the questions in this video. When should you change your program? When should you adjust some of the training variables that maybe your coach sort of controls a little bit more than the lifter, based on feedback. And the reason why I say honest feedback is because if the coach is receiving feedback and the lifter is like missing something or doesn't even know that one of the variables is actually like a bigger factor than they're not even like communicating it because they don't even think it's a big deal, then it's possible that the coach might make an adjustment sooner than they need to, or more aggressively or more passively than they need to. To give you guys an example, let's say you have a lifter that is feeling pretty run down in their training. They don't really understand why. Let's say they're coming off of a deload, right? That is a training variable. That is a knob that the coach can adjust, right? They're lowering your workloads, they're lowering your intensities, they're lowering your volume. And you are still feeling bad after the deload. Well, if you don't tell the coach that you are in an aggressive caloric deficit during that deload, which is a very big, that's literally the fuel that you're putting in your machine, and your machine is you, right? If you're lowering that variable, you're taking away from your energy, you're unable to recover the way that you normally would on a deload, eating normal food. That is going to, for sure, affect the way that deload affects you. It's going to affect the way that you respond to that deload, and it's going to possibly make your coach make an adjustment to your training that maybe they shouldn't have, right? Maybe the right move would be to simply bring your calories up, or maybe the deload needs to be a little bit different or a little bit longer. Vice versa, maybe the lifter is eating a lot, and you are, you're not really seeing much of a difference between like when you're doing lots of volume and when you're deloading. Well, maybe you're wasting time deloading because you have so much fuel there. You could be building on your training and getting, many weeks of solid momentum in there, but you're not doing that because your feedback is just like, it's not accurate. So that's why I think it's important. And this is something that, I try to be like, my lifters can ask me like whatever, like, and I'm just trying to like teach them, especially in the beginning, in the early days, the patterns that we're looking for. I'm asking them questions related to, things that, the knobs that I can adjust, if that makes sense. And that way, it's almost like you have two people troubleshooting. So it's not just the coach asking the lifter giving them feedback, but the lifter might say, hey, you know what? And I actually just had this happen recently with one of my guys, young Trey, who he started to notice, this is like a separate thing, but it does affect honest feedback. It does affect, the type of training that I would have him do. We noticed, and this is something that happens to me and many other lifters, depending on like how much they're lifting and like what kind of bar you're using. But he's getting pretty strong now, especially in his squat, and the bar is starting to bend on his back, and we're starting to realize or notice that anytime he has a heavier bench day after a primary squat day or a heavier squat day, it tanks his bench a little bit. And I know that for me, my elbows would be in so much pain the day after a heavy squat day because of the position that I'm in when I'm squatting heavy low bar. I'm using an Ohio power bar. The whip of the bar would cause like short moments of strain on my elbows, on my shoulders, but not really too bad on my shoulders. Despite like my arms and hands already being in like the best position possible, it would cause me a lot of grief, and it was destroying my bench. Like I just couldn't perform bench because my elbows would ache so much. But I noticed that like it always was better later in the week, and it was like a deep like bone ache. And when I first started benching many years ago, that was also something that I dealt with, just like simply holding the bar more frequently, lifting heavier weights more consistently. So I said, hey, why don't I just flip the days, hit my heavy bench before, then hit my squat, and then my heavy bench has an entire, week before I squat again, right? Like a whole, I have all that distance between the next time when I have to bench and the squat is like, I'm well recovered from the heavy squat work. And usually this would happen like when I'm in prep for a meet because I'm going heavier more frequently. You guys know I like heavy singles, heavy top sets, heavy doubles, things like that. I was also only squatting, once a week because of how like damaging to the muscles the first squat day was, how much recovery I needed. So it worked really well that way. And Trey, being observant and communicating with me, he's very communicative, something like that. We didn't like catch it like right away, but we did catch it. And I said, we might be looking to make an adjustment. We ended up not making an adjustment because it turns out that the bench day that was getting torched was not his most important bench day. So we just ended up going with like a different approach, and we want to preserve his most important bench day, which came later in the week. And then literally like right after that conversation, he hit a great bench in training that I was very happy to see. Sort of like gives us both, confidence. And it's like little things like that. Once like it depends. Like some body types are going to be like really easy to figure out. They're going to respond like great to whatever you give them. And the adjustments are going to be like very like predictable, or like you've already done, I have like 15 other lifters that I worked with in the past that this route worked well with. And this lifter showing me the characteristics of somebody who would fall into that category. And then they just like work really, really well doing that. Whereas like sometimes you might run into like, I say sometimes from my perspective, I've been doing this for a really long time. It's over 10 years now. So like there's not going to be very many things that I haven't seen, but I do have an open mind and I am open to seeing things for the first time, but rarely, and this goes for the way that you interact with your lifter and the feedback that they give you, their weight cut, the way people respond to diets. Like there's so many different avenues, but like the human body can be so diverse and so adaptive to different things. I have some girls who like certain time of the month, like they respond a very specific way to certain things, whereas some girls are kind of just like machines, like they just go right through it. They seem very consistent and nothing really, knocks them off of their path. Everybody's different, but you just have to kind of have that open mind and just be ready to like make the adjustment where you need to make it. And make sure that you're getting as a coach, you have to make sure you're getting the correct feedback. But as a lifter, when your coach is asking you for things, of course you want to try to answer their questions, but you can start to notice patterns over time, and hopefully the education that you're getting from your coach is helping you give better answers, if that makes sense. Basically, I know that when coach asked me this and he says, how am I feeling? It's a very general thing. The coach could also rephrase the question and ask more specifically, how was your nutrition this week? Or were you stressed out this week like you were last week with school? You know what I mean? Maybe for you specifically that there are certain variables that affect you greater than others. So if somebody's dieting and coach says, how you feeling? Then, that's going to be probably more of the conversation than if your diet is consistent. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Sure, even if you coach yourself, you want to make sure that if you have a solid plan that you stick to it and that you're not changing it super frequently. That way, the variables that you adjust are the correct ones, and you're not just hit, some resistance, time to deload. And it's no. You didn't give your body a chance. You should have kept going. So I hope that made sense. But yeah, I just hopefully at the very least this video was somewhat thought-provoking. That being said, I need to catch up on videos. I'm gonna try to get 2 more out this week. I'm gonna attempt. But I'm gonna, I do have a good amount of work ahead of me, so no promises, but I'm gonna try. But yeah, hopefully I get this video up tomorrow. And if you made it this far, #real1 in the comments down below. See you guys in the next one. Peace.